There's dragon eye again. Egg fruit behind it. Coffee plants surrounding it. Pineapples growing in amongst it. Dwarf apple bananas. Avocado up the rear. Albiu right over here. Japanese persimmons up behind it. Right back there with the white fuzzy flowers, that's the ice cream bean, Inga. Over here is Rollinia, that's a relative of the chirimoyas and the pawpaws. Right here, tucked into the ice cream bean, is cacao, growing nicely. Grows slow for me here, but it does grow. Right over here is carambola, or we call it star fruit. There's a second one right there. Right over there is the Mineola tangelo. Now, my citrus trees are some of the only plants that I have out here that are actually purchased and grafted. I have a Valencia orange right over there too. Here we have dwarf apple bananas growing in a real foresty setting here behind the ice cream bean. It's over here next to Pulasan. Pulasan is in the lychee family. Looks like a big old black raspberry. Right over there's a chirimoya with a Rollinia up behind it. Baby coconuts. They aren't liking me too much up here at this elevation, but they are growing. Dwarf Williams bananas. Rambutan over the top. And a whole row of macadamia nut trees. Growing slowly, but doing okay. Here is that favorite Hawaiian canoe plant, the mountain apple. Pretty flowers, nice looking tree. More Rollinia out to the front of it here. Flanked by mame apple. Surrounded by red leaf philodendrons and Chinese bananas back here in the jungle. Pineapples scattered throughout. Big fruit. A yellow rambutan tree. More pineapples. And behind it over here, some very happy pigeon peas from Puerto Rico. We use these to make that Puerto Rican rice they call junta rice, similar to Spanish rice, but it has pigeon peas in it. Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee. Satsuma mandarins. There's cacao. Macadamia nuts. Flanked by kukui nut in the background, the candle nut. That's one of the Hawaiian canoe plants. Suriname cherry. There's dwarf Samoan coconut. And the shorter palms there are the native Hawaiian pritchardias. Right here is a Moro blood orange that is turning into a veritable monster. To the side right there is my blackberries. Next to and behind them are my dragon fruits. Alright, here is my Jamaican lilikoi. This is passion fruit from Jamaica with orange fruits. Behind it are the two oldest jaboticabas on the place. Here, believe it or not, are actually wine grapes. That's funny, huh? There's some of the landscaping up the front of the house over here. Lots of hibiscus and good stuff. Out here in the front yard, we have mostly coffee plants and bananas. There's some taro out there and a couple of experimental apple trees with some jackfruit. But most of it is just coffee and bananas out here. Coffee out here is suffering from the drought in Hawaii worse because these plants are younger and their roots are not spread as well as the ones in the back. Right here along the front of the house, I like to grow flowering shrubs, but I have integrated them with blueberries in the foreground, which are just beginning to come into bloom. Yes, you can grow blueberries in Hawaii, if you can keep the birds off of them. Over here we have bougainvilleas with hibiscus, with ixora shrubs, rosemary, more blueberries, and this guy right here is a grumachama. It's one of the eugenias from South America. It's got an edible berry on it. Over here we got some ground orchids and some bromeliads, Some Hawaiian tea, pineapples, dracaenas, lemongrass, limes up the background, satsuma mandarins. Behind the house, I have some banana plantings. I also have my nursery tables. This is where I grow everything in the backyard. Here is a giant mound of lilikoi vines. They actually came out of my compost heap, and they are supported on mango trees and avocado trees and papayas that all came up out of the compost when I tossed the seeds. And then when I tossed the lilikoi seeds out here, they exploded, completely covered and killed all the trees. They're using them for a trellis. So we got kind of a self-generating garden right here. That kind of stuff happens a lot in Puna. And I have some of the giant lilikoi here too. I haven't harvested this one yet. We'll see what I think of the fruit. The regular lilikoi here is quite delicious. It's in this brief, nearly leafless stage of winter at the moment, but this is one of my oldest chirimoyas. They seem to be growing pretty well here. We'll find out. Totally experimental, folks. Mango isn't always the best choice for the rainy side of the Big Island, but I have quite a few of them. Every time I get a hold of some good local mango seed, I stick it in out here. And we're doing pretty well with the trees, at least. They grow well. Even if I never harvest enough good fruit off it to make it worthwhile, mango wood is great. Beautiful stuff. Right here is my one and only mangosteen tree. Coming along pretty nicely. I was getting chewed here for a while, but she's doing good now. I finally figured out that these things need shade to get going. We're actually tucked between dwarf bananas, coffee plants, an avocado tree, and this massive lilikoi over here. So then Ellen's got her orchids tied and everything. So here we have a Valencia orange with an Oncidium orchid tied into it. Sweet potatoes ramble everywhere between the crops. One of my experimental ground covers. Anthurium has also been a fairly successful ground cover. Right here is my one and only soursop, the guanabana. It's again in the Enonaceae with the chirimoyas, the rolinias and the pawpaws and the atemoyas and the custard apple. Here's one of my better looking star apples. Again, this one came from a seed. A friend of mine had a really wonderful grafted star apple. I picked seeds out of it and planted them about 5 years ago. Coconuts, easy enough to grow around here. Pick the nuts up, washing in down in Lower Puna up along the beaches. Usually have a top sprouted out of them and a root. Just stick them in the ground. Well, here is the betel nut palm. It's kind of an interesting looking thing. It's really got a nice trunk to it. It makes a stimulant narcotic nut that's consumed in Southeast Asia. It has a pretty good market here on the island too, but man, I tell you, it's heck on your teeth. I'll stick to coffee. And a couple of baby betel nuts right here I grew from seed. Well, these guys right over here, really an experiment. Cherry trees in Hawaii. That's a weirdie, huh? This is the Capulin cherry from the Andes. It's actually a subtropical prunus. Makes a cherry, not as good as a Bing or anything, but it's one of the only possible cherries that might grow here. We're in our briefly deciduous winter time period with them, so they look pretty scruffy, but these things really grow. I've had to prune the heck out of them. The trees are about 4 years old. They've been cut in half twice. My goodness. If nothing else, it makes a lot of wood. So there we have it, folks. The before, the after Bill's garden on the island. Happy gardening. Hang loose.